An old lady sat in her old armchair, with wrinkled visage and dishevelled hair, and hunger-worn features, her only fare for days and weeks to support her and smooth her careworn cheeks had been potatoes. But now they were gone. Of bad or good, not one was left for the poor lady's food of those potatoes. And she sighed and said, "What shall I do? Where shall I send? To whom shall I go for more potatoes?" And she thought of the deacon over the way, the deacon so ready to worship and pray, whose cellar was full of potatoes. She said, "I will send for the deacon to come. He'll not much mind to give me some of such a store of potatoes." And the deacon came over as fast as he could, thinking to do the old lady some good, but never once thought of potatoes. He asked her at once what was her chief want, and she, simple soul, expecting a grant, immediately answered, "Potatoes." But the deacon's religion didn't lie that way. He was more accustomed to preach and pray than to give his hoarded potatoes. So not hearing, of course, what the old lady said, he knelt to pray with uncovered head, but she only thought of potatoes. He prayed for patience, goodness and grace, but when he prayed, "Lord, give her peace," she audibly sighed, "Give potatoes." And at the end of each prayer which he said, he heard or thought he heard in its stead that same request for potatoes. The deacon was troubled, knew not what to do. 'Twas very embarrassing to have her act so, about those carnal potatoes. So ending his prayers, he started for home. The door closed behind, he heard a deep groan, "Oh, give to the hungry potatoes." And the groan followed him all the way home. In the midst of the night it haunted his room, "Oh, give to the hungry potatoes." He could bear it no longer. He rose and dressed, from his well-filled cellar taking in haste a bag of his best potatoes. Again he went to the widow's lone hut. Her sleepless eyes she had not shut, but there she sat in her old armchair, with the same wan features and troubled air. And entering in, he poured on the floor a bushel or more from his goodly store of choicest potatoes. The widow's heart leapt up for joy. Her face was pale and haggard no more. "Now," said the deacon, "shall we pray?" "Yes," said the widow, "now you may." And he knelt him down on the sanded floor, where he had poured out his goodly store. And such a prayer the deacon prayed as never before his lips essayed. No longer embarrassed, but free and full, he poured out the voice of a liberal soul, and the widow responded a loud amen, but said no more of potatoes. Then would you who hear this simple tale pray for the poor and praying prevail? Then preface your prayers with alms and good deeds. Search out the poor, their wants and needs. Pray for their peace and grace, spiritual food, for wisdom and guidance, all these are good. But don't forget the potatoes.